You take a look at Magruder, that's very fancy.
Nothing indeed. When you talk about Magruder and you talk about a man named Roy Lester, the head coach who's been in this state since I think they've invented dirt. He's been around a long time, and he's a Woody Hayes type of coach, 3 yards in a cloud of dust there. He's got a strong, big, physical team. They line up in a unbalanced line, 2 tight ends, maybe an I formation, and they just come at you, and they keep coming. They might throw every once in a while, but it's going to be a safe pass. They're going to run and run and run right at you.
Okay, we take a look at the crowd as they're starting to filter in, Jay, and we're only 10 minutes away till the start of tonight's ball game. Linganore Lancers, someone that we've had the opportunity to follow for quite some time this year, and of course for Frederick County, it's the only game in town.
It's the only game in town for the 3rd consecutive week. My lucky sweater, my lucky mittens. Okay, so we're not taking any chances, and yeah, George, it's in a way it's kind of hard to believe we're here. The season went by so quickly, and when it started, everyone has great aspirations and goals, and clearly one of the goals that Dave Crothers' Linganore Lancer team had was to get to the state playoffs, and they did, and they not only got to the state playoffs, but lo and behold, here they are at the University of Maryland. It's a beautiful night for football. It was supposed to be snowing and raining, and gosh, it's just a wonderful picturesque scene. There's a tremendous crowd here that came down from Frederick County. It's just fun to be a part of it, and I know we're going to have a great game. You know, I was thinking about this driving down the road today, and on paper, it doesn't look like Linganore matches up too well. Same thing against Duval last week, same thing against Paint Branch, for that matter, the same thing against many of the teams they played this year. Physically, these kids don't match up, but you can't measure the heart. You can't measure the heart, and they got a heart that's bigger than the world. And you know what? Sometimes it's not the best team that wins, but it's the team that plays best. And I think if there's one word to epitomize the Linganore Lancers, it's team. These kids play together, they play hard, they come at you for 48 minutes, and they've come out on the long end of the score 11 times this year. We're sure hoping that there's one more time in there tonight.
Well, we certainly do, and of course one of the things we heard at the Duval game, the thing we heard at the Paint Branch team, and more or less what's been the theme for the Lancers all year is we believe. And as we look down through the crowd tonight, we can see several signs of banners to that effect. We believe. Offensively, I think if we were to take and analyze, I think you're right. On paper, perhaps from a strength standpoint, Magruder certainly looks better. From diversification as far as able to throw the ball and run the ball, I think Dave Carruthers has certainly proven this year, if there was ever any doubt, that he is certainly one heck of a coach. I think that he's absolutely mixed his plays extremely well, Steve, in the playoffs, and no reflection on Duval. But if I had to say if one coach outcoached the other, I would say in that particular game, Dave Carruthers certainly did the job. But that game's behind us. Here we are, Byrd Stadium, down to 8 minutes before the opening kickoff. Folks, we'll be right back. Bingo. We had the coin toss while we were off the air, and Magruder won the toss. They've deferred until the second half. They want to put that defensive alignment out there that's been so stingy all year long, giving up, I believe, just 58 points in 12 games. And the Lancers, of course, no choice, take the football and say, okay, guys, we're going to come at you with our best. And fellas, it's just going to take a little bit of time till we find out who's going to be controlling this ball game.
Well, George, I think it's very important, just as it was last week, again, the Duval game, for Linganore to come out, establish that they can play on the field with these bigger kids, you know, get the ball control going, don't make any mistakes, stay away from the fumbles, the interceptions, the needless penalties, and I think they can take control of the game right here from the very start by putting on an impressive drive against a very big and physical Magruder Colonel team.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and doing the kicking duties, we'll have his number in a minute there for Magruder. I can make out the number. Of course, he's absolutely parallel to me here, so it's very difficult for me to pick up that number. It looks like it might be number 25 for Magruder.
Petroli, Tony Petroli, George.
Tony Petroli, the senior, about set to go. Both crowds on their feet, awaiting as Petroli approaches. He's a sidewinder. It's a high end-over-end kick. Taken dead center at the 12-yard line by the Lancers. Trying to break the outside is Mike Arneson, but going nowhere. Well, Steve, of course, Magruder stayed right in their lanes on that kickoff. Arneson trying to break to the outside, not able to do it, and the Lancers take over inside their 20, and any time that the team takes over inside the 20, defense has done their job. Exactly,
George. It was a nice job by the young man. He almost came in too far on the inside, but he made a nice play to get back and get him.
First handoff straight up the middle by Hebb to Marco.
George, we got the offensive line for the Lancers: Scotty Prince, Jared Handelman, Pete Jollies, Don Brady, Scott Willett. They've done a fine job all year. Backs and receivers: Mike Arneson, Jim Allnut, Jeremy Hebb at QB, Mike Marco, Offensive Player of the Year in the Frederick County area, Dwayne Musselman, Mike Ellis, and Josh Arneson at tight end.
Well, the 2 wide outs, 2 backs set behind Hebb. Second down. Hebb drops straight, takes a look. Heavy pressure, breaks to his outside, cuts to the inside. Looks like it'll be the first down. Linganore is Jeremy Hebb. Good coverage in the secondary, but he cuts to the inside.
Nice job by Jeremy that time. Pressure from the backside that time, George, as you saw, and very quick feet by Jeremy that time. Got outside, excellent run, excellent improvisation there to get a first down.
You see it on replay, and the thing about Hebb, he's a big boy, 6'3", about 190. Not real quick, but pretty smart runner, and he showed that time he got outside the pressure.
Well, this time slot shown, handoff straight up to Marco off the right side. Might have got 1 yard out of it, and this is an alignment that we saw the Lancers use against Duval last week. Rather than running out of the power I, they ran out of the slot defensively for the Colonels. There in the line, we got Bruce Ballard, John Harrison, Sasha Heyer, Kyle King, and Mark Tenholder.
You find that
backs Holton, Varesco, Miller, and Williams.
Sorry, George. You find that formation, the one back spreads the defense out, and that thus opens up things for you.
Okay, thanks, Steve. And of course, that certainly worked effectively last time. Trying to go for the money. He's got him alone. Oh, he threw to the inside shoulder. And Arneson, I think, Steve, initially was looking to the outside shoulder. At least that's what it looked like from here.
On that kind of pass, yes, you definitely want to throw it to the outside shoulder. He made a nice move. The kid bit on the out fake. He turned it up. Same type of play that they just missed 2 weeks ago against Paint Branch. He just overthrew Arneson.
And George, what Dave Crothers is showing, as he likes to do, he likes to mix it up to show some balance. Both times on second down, he comes out throwing the football. So they like to run, but they like to throw too.
Well, as we mentioned, probably just a little more diversification. Arneson, the tight end Arneson that is, goes from the right side to your left side, the bottom of your screen. Quick pitch to the outside, cutting inside. That's Mike Ellis. Cuts up to about the 36-yard line. Magruder reacting well on that particular play.
They're very similar, George, in both defenses. They pursue to the ball and gang tackle. A lot of pride taken in their defenses.
Mike Ellis to do the kicking. Ellis had an excellent game against Duval, and we saw him in practice, and he was booming some great ones. This one sort of a low. Possibility for a return, and it's taken. Good coverage this time, and running just out of bounds is number 11, Mike Graham, with no return, and probably wisely so. A few boos in the crowd, but Graham had no place to go, so why risk a possibility of a fumble, and the Colonels take over as their defense does hold. 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line.
Well, dig in, folks. We got bump and grind football now. three yards in a cloud of dust. Roy Lester, of course, one of the premier coaches in all of the state of Maryland, I guess, on the high school ranks, former coach at the University of Maryland. Not real fancy, but real solid, and they're running out of that power I formation.
Well, handoff right away to Miller up the middle. Number 32. It's Chris Miller. Chris Miller, of course, defensive alignment there. Mike Webb, Don Brady, Sean Flaherty, and Rich B. Baker up front. Mike Jansen, Mike Arneson, Jimmy Allnut, Timmy Michael, Cole Wilkinson, Jeff Jones, and Mike Cady. Defensive backs.
Sorry, George. They'll feature Doug Miller. He's 901 yards on 224 carries, 7 TDs as your number 2-2 tailback.
Well, you said triple I, and that's exactly what
Good
they
hit
see.
that time.
But boom, stopped right
Good
up
hit
front.
that time. Jeff Jones, 6 tackles last week against Duval, led the team in tackles, and he had a good shot that time against Miller. There's the offensive line for the Colonels: Harrison Kutsos, Kyle King, John Taus, and Brian Hines. Andy McLean, Richard Biava, Doug Miller, Dan Redmond, Chris Miller, Mark Tenholder, backs and receivers for Magruder. Magruder came into the night 10-2 on the season, having defeated C. Milton Wright in the first round, and Northern, number 1 ranked Northern, 13-zip last week to get to the finals against Linganore.
Well, McLean over the ball, 3rd and 5, the situation for the Colonels. Handoff, second man, but going nowhere. And boy, guys, I think if we said before the game it's going to be just grind and boom and grind and boom, and that's what we're seeing so far. 8:15 left here in the first quarter. Both defensive squads showing well, Steve.
Yes, indeed. They both are. They're, of course, this game, everybody's keyed up, they're ready to go, and the defense is one team that gets to show that with out there, and both have done excellent jobs this first series.
Well, be curious to see if they kick to Anderson, as yes, they do, and it's a line drive. He will have an opportunity. Cuts to the outside by one. It's the picket fence. He's at the outside. Mike Anderson trying for the sideline. Refuses to go out of bounds.
Okay.
Boy, I'll tell you, it took some guts there. He stayed in bounds, and a great line set up that time as he eluded the first one. And Steve, you saw the fence.
Yes, indeed. That was 1, maybe 2 blocks away from springing him all the way. They had set up real well along here. The thing that made it that more effective was the fact that punt was a low
line
punt.
drive kick.
Yeah, we see it right
Steve.
here. And watch Jim Allnut, small in size, but he sets up a good block here if we can pick up on it. Right there, you couldn't get his number, but that was Jim Allnut with a fine block. Hebb takes into the air, first play from the 46-yard line, looks outside. Anderson cuts to the inside, and he's thrown to the ground by number 80 defensively, and that's Mark Tenholder. So the pass that's been so effective for the Lancers all year long, the short down and out pattern, is effective in the first quarter here as Hebb hits Mike Arneson.
And Steve, they'll keep running that down and out until that corner bites, and then it's up the rope. You know they're going to go for it.
Exactly.
Well, 7-yard pickup, make it 2nd and 7. I formation, wideouts left and right. Hebb calls the signals, takes a look, handoff straight up the middle to Marco. So tough to bring down, but held very well there by number 71, Sasha Heyer, going nowhere on that particular down.
Well, Sasha Heyer is a first-team All-Metro selection from Magruder, 6'1", 230-pound senior tackle, goes both ways, and he's a horse. They'll have a hard time running around or through him.
Well, 32, Tim Michael brings into play, for you people who haven't seen the Lancers, just the wide receivers who bring into plays. To the bottom of your screen, that'll be Tim Michael, 32. To the top of your screen, number 11, Jim Allnut. Could be that pitch formation, but no, quite straight drop. Hebb's looking. He's going to go for broke. It's down the sideline. Good coverage. We're going to get pass interference the other way. No call.
Inadvertent contact, I think, is
well,
what
I guess, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I getting it mixed up with pro? Does it have to be a catchable ball as well on that or not?
That's in a judgment of the official. I think it's the same type of thing as we have in the professional rules. If it was anything, it might have been offensive pass interference there, but apparently the official thought the ball was out of bounds, so no call.
Mike Ellis to kick to number 11. Mike Graham kicks away from Graham, gets a good roll, nice roll, inside, still on 6-yard line. Mike Ellis, I'll tell you, it's like having another offensive man when you kick the ball.
George, we didn't really talk at length about it, but I think one of the key parts of this game, at least for the success of Linganore and Magruder, is field position. Okay, and right now, Linganore is winning the game on field position. A great punt by Ellis. He was all area, all CMC punter. Of course, if it gets into a field goal kicking game, we can bring out Teddy Day for Linganore too. So if kicking has anything to do with it, Linganore Lancers are in pretty good shape tonight.
Very important here, George and Jay, that the Linganore defense keeps them down here and so they can get even better field position. The one thing you don't want to do is let Magruder out.
Well, that time they did, Steve.
Yep.
No sooner did the words come out of your mouth as we see a straight shot up the middle by number 22, Doug Miller. Doug Miller, of course, the man I talked about before, has had 141 yards and 2 touchdowns in one of the previous games, and we see another shot of Miller there as he's brought down, but not before he gets into the secondary.
Nothing particularly fancy, George, but pretty good solid running by Miller that time.
Well, 1st and 10 for them. Ball resting on the 18-yard line. Third man back, gets the ball. This time going nowhere.
Good hit that time by Richie Baker. Baker's just had a super year, and he's really come on here during this playoff round. He had a great game against Duval, a super game against Paint Branch 2 weeks ago, and he made a nice stop on Miller that time.
The full eye, Jay, gives a lot of different options, and I'm sure we'll see him before the game is over with maybe the trap to a fullback, a counter action there, a counter tray. Right now, he's just kind of feeling their way, seeing what's going to work. You notice there are very tight line splits. Again, roll the sleeves up. We're coming at you. Now stop us.
You might want to keep your eye on 71 too, higher. He's the kid they like to run off of. He's at left guard right now.
Well, man in motion this time, flag, and it could be too much time is because it's thrown by the back judge, so I would assume it would be the delay of game. There's the call, and that's the indication. 5-yard penalty will make it 2nd and 13 with 5 minutes left here in the first quarter, and what has been a defensive battle so far. The Lancers able to move offensively somewhat better than Magruder, but have not been in any position to try and put any points on the board as yet.
George, just taking a look at the teams, physically Magruder's bigger, but in terms of numbers, I think Linganore's got half of Frederick County here tonight.
Oh boy, I tell you. Well,
a lot of black shirts.
A lot of black shirts. Hand up. First time he's going to put the ball in the air. He's looking long. He's got him. Oh, and he just underthrew him as the ball's trapped. The intended receiver, number 80, Mark Tenholder. And Steve, as you mentioned, he's certainly not afraid to throw the ball when he feels that it's opportunistic. And Andy McLean that time had him, but just underthrew him, and we'll see it here.
Nice play action fake here, George. And the corner over there bit on that fake, and he was wide open. He underthrew it, unfortunately, and it fell incomplete.
Well, 3rd and 13. Likes to throw on the second down, which, I'm sort of like 2J, as you know. That's when I like to throw when I'm deep. It's
George, I think Crothers would like to have him 3rd and 13 all night. They just picked up another 5.
They just picked up another 5. It's number 73, John Towles. You saw the movement on the line. The junior right tackle just had a little movement, and the referee picked right up on it. So case right here from a discipline standpoint in the first quarter, where Magruder just a little bit edgy as they've picked up 2 5-yard penalties.
As you've noticed, George and Jay, I mentioned before the game, he will, Roy Lester will throw the ball, but it's going to be safe. And as you notice on that pattern, it's a very safe pattern. 5 and out, man in motion doing the pattern.
Well, let's see if they come up with something here like the short screen, or whether they just elect to keep it on the ground and play it safe. And it is. It's right up the gut this time. Big pile up there in the middle, and it's going to bring up a 4th down.
I'm trying to remember if anybody but Doug Miller has run the football for him so far. He's clearly their horse.
He certainly is. In to do the punting, that's Mark Tenholder back again, who had a return last time, as number 4, Mike Arneson. Tenholder's last kick was a little bit low, and I'm sure he's going to try and get a little bit more elevation on this one, but not really, as it will be returnable again. This time Arneson gives the fake, this time to the other side. Brought down a very, very good coverage that time by the Colonels.
Number 83, Jay, yeah. Derek Ware made the tackle. I think he probably got a little earful from Coach Lester on the last one, because he overran it and missed the tackle on Mike on the previous punt. That time he made sure he made the tackle.
Well, Derek Ware, he must be kin to Andre Ware, who won the Heisman. He was down there quick as a flash.
Well, let me tell you guys, remember that ball wasn't high in the air. It gives you an idea of the coverage that they do have on punts. He didn't have a lot of time to get down. Counterplay this time. Marco trying to fight to the outside, unable to get to the outside. As the old saying goes, the man stayed home, and I believe that's number 80, Tenholder.
Excellent player, Tenholder, as we've seen. Plays both ways. Nice receiver, and does a nice job here at that backer position.
Well, Tenholder made honorable mention All-Metro, first team All-Montgomery County from his linebacker slot. He's a good ball player, and this Magruder team is solid. They're not here because of a mistake. They're here because they're good.
Arneson and all, not the wideouts behind the high formation, as Heb goes to the air, takes a look over the middle. Nothing there. Oh, he threw right. Oh, he dropped the ball. And, we go back to the Duval game, and early in the first quarter, I mentioned once before about Jeremy Heb. They looked as though his primary receiver was the defender, and that time number 82, Carton Williams, will see it.
Steve, I don't know whether you agree, but this time I think Jeremy was just trying to touch it in rather than just go ahead and throw on the football.
Exactly.
4 men around the ball, though, guys.
Yes,
certainly not a safe pass.
He's got to find his second. I think what a high school quarterback sometimes gets in the habit of doing is throwing to the primary receivers and not looking for secondary.
Watch for the draw. No draw, just a straight handoff, as Dave Carruthers a little bit conservative, and with a punter like Mike Ellis, who's put him deep the last 2 times, perhaps that's what he figures on doing right here. It's 4th and 13 for the Lancers. Mike Ellis, line of scrimmage of the ball is about the 41-yard line. He'll actually be kicking from, say, his 31, 10 yards back. This time Ellis, a little bit low pass, but this time it's sort of a wobbly kick. Fair catch called for and taken by number 11, Mike Graham. 32-yard line of the Colonels, where the Colonels will take over 1st and 10.
Well, that's about the best field position Magruder's had so far tonight. So they picked up what they had lost on the last series. This will be a big series of downs now for the Lancers defense. Try to get Magruder to turn the ball back over to him in good field position.
Jay and George, you might now see them open up a little bit now. They've had 2 series where they find out what may work, what may not work, and we'll see what happens.
Well, which is so true. Coaches so often will run a couple of series to set something up. But that time, number 77, no one else other than Richie Baker, quick off that line, Jay.
Richie Baker, again, we were talking about him earlier. He just had a terrific year, and you're going to see him make a nice play on Miller. Great penetration, knocks him down in the backfield for a loss. Good play by Richie Baker.
In my opinion, guys, definitely one of the best, if not the best, defensive linemen in the conference and maybe in the area this year. In my opinion, excellent quickness off the ball, and that's where he's been able to beat some bigger fellows across from him. Excellent swim technique he uses a lot. He just so quick getting across and getting into the backfield, making penetration and causing things to happen. Certainly a very key player for Linganore this year on defense. And if he would go down, that would be a definite big loss for them. And well, remember back to the Paint Branch game, he had a slight injury, had to come out of the game for one play, and the next
play right over him,
yeah.
Steve. So true. Folks, 2:41 left here in the first quarter, and stay with you through this timeout as we're about set to go again. Magruder coming out over the ball. The situation, 2nd and 8. Both teams with 3 timeouts left here in the first half on an absolutely gorgeous night, a night that the weatherman wasn't too sure we might get some rain and snow, but I just can't believe it. It's just absolutely perfect. Straight shot up the middle, down on the ankles. That's Jeff Jones, I believe, who was it with the ball?
Number 80. That's
number 80, 10 holder.
He's the second back in that full eye, George. He ran a little counter that time. I thought he'd start to open up a little bit more and show something different, catch him over pursuing.
That time he almost caught him. That was the first time that 10 holders carried the ball. In fact, I think the first time anybody in the backfield other than Miller has carried the ball. So you're right, Steve, just as you were suggesting, he might open it up a little bit. He's got 3rd and 7. Obvious passing situation for a coach that doesn't like to pass. Interesting to see what he's going to do.
Exactly.
Well, the triple I shown out over the ball. Andy McLean, 3rd and 7. McLean dropped, looked over there. He's got number 10. Oh, and he caught the ball. He caught the ball. Tim Holton, as Jim Allnut went for the interception. Allnut would have had 7 or 6 if he had got it, but just a second late getting there. And number 10, Holton comes up with the first down. We'll see it again.
McLean threw the ball well this time. Right on the bacon there, right on the money.
Excellent play faking. He had the drill right there to get it in, and he certainly did.
So, for the first time tonight, the Magruder Colonels in Lancer territory. Ball resting on the 41-yard line. 1 minute and 42 seconds. The clock running. Triple I shown. First one to the outside. That's number 22, and he's got room. Still on his feet. Jim Allnut running him down. That's Doug Miller.
There goes, guys, what we're saying. They've been pounding on
belly,
boom, 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 and now they go outside with it. Excellent blocks on the point of attack, and there we have it. Nice run by that Doug Miller, and you see why he's certainly their leading ground gainer and big horse on offense.
Yeah. Well, the first serious threat of the evening for either squad. Ball now on the 25-yard line. Colonel's on the run, as well pointed out. It was up the belly, many plays, a quick break to the outside, coupled with a pass, has put the Colonels in scoring position. Signal, straight up the middle, again, number 77, Richie Baker.
Sometimes coaches refer to that as an isolate or a blast, or where the fullback, the up back leads and give to the tailback. Very simple, very basic type of play. Kind of a macho thing on the offensive line. Mano a mano, we're going at you. You know, let's team up and go get them.
Well, Baker along with Mike Cady on that tackle. We're under a minute to go here in the first quarter. This will probably be the last play of the first quarter. The clock 34 seconds and winding. Unbalanced line shown by Magruder. Shot up the middle and brought down from behind. I'll have the number for in the middle. That's number 9 for the Lancers. Mike Franklin, initial tackle. Pickoff of about 3. He's got to bring a 3rd and 7, but we'll be winding down here with 13 seconds and clock running.
Yeah, you're going to let it just run on down, George.
Well, there it is, 2-1, folks, and that is the end of the first quarter at Byrd Stadium at the University of Maryland. It's the Linganore Lancers nothing, the Magruder Colonels nothing. Folks, we'll be right back. I had to sit and bring this up. It was bothering my eye. I was getting blurry. Crumbs. Yes, sir. They got to hold them.
Another
3rd and 7.
Yep.
Yeah, they're a 4-down situation anyway, David.
That's true. I don't know if they have a place kicker or not. I think they do.
Second quarter underway. Nothing noon shown. That's the triple I set behind Andy McLean as McLean comes out over him. Lancers in their 44 defense that they've been showing pretty much all year long. Man in motion. That's number 80-10 holder. Handoff, no fake. McLean with the ball over the middle. Oh, and I'll tell you, he can throw that ball as just reaching the outstretched arms of the intended receiver. Who is that, Jay?
Number 24, George. There's the play fake.
That's off the counter, Jay. It's just a counter, and he runs the waggle like we did in the wing tee.
Sure.
All right. They just run off a counter look and roll the opposite way. Try and hit the tight end, come across the net on a drag pattern. He was open at dead spot, just a little bit thrown a little too far.
Well, Steve, it seems as though the play fake is being a problem for the Lancers. Is really, if that had been on the money, the receiver definitely was open.
Well, it's not surprising that they bite on those play fakes as much as this team runs.
4th down. Again, roll out to the right, turns him inside, throw over the middle. No! Broken up by number 9, Mike Franklin. The Lancers hold.
Mike Franklin came up with a big-time play that time. That ball was pretty close to being completed.
Well, that time a good drop by all linebackers. We see McLean on the rollout, trying to throw over the middle, and there's Franklin, all nut in as well. The primary receiver on that one, number 24, Dan Redmond.
Pressure from the outside. I don't know if that was Webb or not, fellas, but that, I think he forced him to throw a little before he wanted to.
Slot formation show, Nets running, trying to cut to the inside. Musselman.
We didn't see the Musselman pitch in the first quarter, so first play out the second quarter, they throw it to Dwayne, a junior running back, second team all area. He had a great junior year, and 6 foot, 175, 180 pounds. This kid can play. We've talked a lot about him this year.
Well, you know, it's a nice feeling for Coach Carruthers. Of course, he's concerned about this year, but when you can have Musselman, Kallega, and Griffiths coming back next year, that's not a bad set of backs to have coming back.
They are deep at the running back position.
They come over to TJ if they want.
Straight drop, looking over the middle for Arneson. No one there, going long. Oh, we got interference. We got interference as Mike Arneson had the inside route, and he is bumped by number 10, Tim Holton. So the Lancers will get the ball 1st and 10.
We'll see it on replay. George, Steve, obviously Carruthers has seen something in the tapes with Magruder this week, because Jeremy's thrown about 5 times, and I think 4 of them have been deep patterns.
Oh, wait.
What we got here?
Did he pick it up and say
Yes,
no flag?
No flag,
Picked it up and called it no flag.
No flag.
It looked like our Frederick Cablevision cameras thought it was a penalty.
Well, 2nd and 10. Steve, what do you think on that?
Well, you were right, Jay. I think the thing is that